there, and welcome to Conversations with Katherine. My name is Katherine Tatsuda, and I am standing here at Ward Lake on this glorious day in Ketchikan with my dear friend, Doug Ward. How are you today, Doug?
Hey, Katherine, we're doing awesome.
Hey, good.
Yeah,
and who do you have with you?
Oh, well, we have Tenzi here.
This is Tenzi.
Yeah, he's an alpine poodle.
Hi.
Yeah, he's named after Tenzing Norgay, the famous Sherpa.
The one who would bring people up to the top of Everest, is that?
Well, in fact, he took Edmund Hillary to the top of Everest and eventually to knighthood.
Oh my goodness.
And then poor Tenzing was put back to work carrying heavy loads up the hill.
Oh.
So, that's why we named the dog.
Tenzi, come over here.
Hey, buddy.
There we go. Let's let people see you because they want to see your pretty face. Oh, hi. Hi.
Oh.
It's so nice to meet you. Okay.
All right.
Wow, we're so excited to be here. So you are recently retired.
Indeed.
In
okay. December.
In December. And before you retired, you were the director of shipyard development. Did I get that right?
Well, you did get that right.
I did get that right.
That's what we called it.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research on you last night. I know. I was stalking Doug on the internet, and I saw that it looks like that you had worked for the shipyard in that capacity since in the mid '90s, if the internet was correct.
I think it was. I think it was like 95 or something.
Okay.
Is about when I started down there with Randy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Getting the yard started, reactivating the place, and yeah.
Yeah, and so look how far it's come. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the shipyard, kind of about the other work that you do in Ketchikan, and then kind of about your hobbies, because you have some interesting ones that I want to learn more about that are in line with mine, which involve hiking mountains and doing fun stuff like that. So so hopefully we'll talk mountain goats.
You bet.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we going to go for a walk?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
Let's go. Let's do
okay.
That sounds like fun.
Let's go.
Yeah. So how long does it take you to get up to the first lookout?
Today it didn't take too long. I think it took me about a half hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Tenzi do pretty good with you on the trail?
Does Tenzi do pretty good?
Yeah.
Tenzi gets a little impatient with me, but he hangs out pretty well.
He says, why are you being so slow?
Exactly. He also keeps me on the trail.
Slow?
Yeah, so quite a summer. Big swings in weather, huh?
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The seasons change. You can almost tell how the days are getting longer or shorter.
So when did you get to Ketchikan?
Well, Katherine, it seemed to me it has to be right around 1988.
1988.
And I think that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Close as I can get.
Yeah. So what brought you here? Like, how did you end up here?
Well, I have to say, Ketchikan was not my first rodeo in Alaska. So,
okay, I won't dig into that because it sounds juicy, even though I want to.
It was, yeah. Well, I did spend some time on the slope.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
wow.
Yeah, that was back in and I just made a bunch of money just in time for the price of oil to crash.
Oh, good.
Watch that economy go down.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
huh?
Right.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that was my first adventure, and
Okay.
then years later, I got a job with a guy named Jack Dawson down in Bellingham.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, and he brought me up here, and he dropped me off and said, Doug, if you can just get me some permits the next couple of weeks, that'll be fine. Well, he hasn't been back to get me since.
Oh.
So I'm grateful for him for dropping me off and not coming back.
And not coming
Right.
back. Oh my gosh. So did you, was your first, did you go directly to working at the shipyard, or did you do some other things?
No,
before you went?
for Jack, the first thing I did, the Cambria subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah, we worked together on that.
Okay.
Developed the plat.
Wow.
And all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was a fun project.
So Jack dumped you here as his main guy. That's what happened. He didn't dump you here and then ignore you forever, but he left you here as the guy.
Yeah, well,
to
and he told me to stay out of trouble.
Oh.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Yeah. To varying degrees of success.
Success.
It depends on who you
we're
talk
not
to.
talking in jail today, so
Not
it's pretty
today.
good, right?
Right.
So when did you, so how did you get to be associated with the shipyard? How did that happen?
Well, that was again like kind of a special deal. He loaned me to Randy Johnson to go down and help with
Okay.
the permitting, and that was going to be another 2-week stint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, what was that? That was 28 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started with helping with permitting, and
Yeah.
it kind of stuck from there. Yeah.
Well, we got the damn permits for it. Now we
Yeah.
had to find something to do.
Right.
Yes. So,
That's awesome. Let's go find somewhere to sit and we can talk more.
hey, let's do that.
Let's
I'm
do
getting
that.
tired. All right.
You did run a mountain this morning, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, well, Tenzi and I had to run up Deer Mountain and check on the goats.
Oh, were they up there?
Well, no.
No.
Yeah, we
Darn it.
continued to know that.
So you were at the shipyard for, oh my goodness, 25 years?
Some years,
Or
yep.
20 some years, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and there was significant growth at the shipyard over that time. And as director of shipyard development, you played a pretty big hand in that, it seems.
Well, I have to say it was more of an educational experience for me than anybody. Really fascinating, and I think one of the great things about living in a place like this is that when you take off on a venture like that, it's pretty easy to get to the people that can help with the project.
Right.
And that's why we have a lot of the opportunities we have here, and why it's important that we help preserve those investments that our elected officials have, taken risk on too by supporting them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's a joint venture between a private enterprise and the government. Is what the shipyard really is.
Well, it is. The
Yeah.
state took the risk of owning the facility,
Right.
and then the risk of operating it falls on the private sector.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, those are
Yeah.
always complicated arrangements to make.
I'm sure. So when you say it was a educational experience, it
Yeah.
really was in
Right.
all kinds of ways.
Well, sure, but through that, and I think Randy would agree, because we didn't know what we didn't know, and we didn't know what the limits of practical application were.
Right.
Why it kind of helped us overcome some challenges that we wouldn't have figured out if we had been too smart.
Right. Absolutely. Sometimes it's good to go into things clueless.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't do it? Why not?
Yeah, exactly. So that was fun. But
Yeah.
this project, Catch Can, we've had influence on both state and federal maritime policy. The Anchorage Shipyard grant program happened because of our involvement in building an Alaskan workforce. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
yeah, so it was, looking back, it was a ton of fun. But I got to say, it might not have been quite as much fun as I'm having right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
because now you are retired, right?
Well, yeah, I am, and I'm trying to retire to the Alpine.
Oh, good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know, even when I first met you, I met you a number of years ago, but we worked together as board members for the
right.
Chamber of Commerce. And so I know, and when we were doing that, you were very involved in the Chamber and also in other community organizations. Are you still doing that type of work in your retired life as well?
Yeah, I'm still trying to, I go down and pester the Chamber board now and then. And,
That's good.
Remind them of some of us old dogs that are still around.
That's right.
Yeah, and we remember.
We know the history.
So, but it's, I guess, I'm somewhat relieved. I was a little concerned that I would be really bored.
Right.
I have been so dang busy, I haven't worried about it. And, I'm really kind of happy just hanging out in Ketchikan and enjoying this
Good.
place. I could never figure out why over 1 million people would come here every year, but since I retired, now I got it figured out.
You got it figured out.
Yeah, right.
So I know that, one of the things, you're an avid runner, and you also really enjoy climbing mountains, which is, you're saying you wanted to retire up in the Alpine.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know before, as we were talking, before we started filming, you were telling me about how you just did a little run up Deer Mountain to the first lookout,
Oh, yeah, the lunch run. Yeah, Tenzi and I do a lunch run every day.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's part of the deal. And it's really not that much fun, and I don't enjoy it that much, but I have to do it in order to keep up with some of those young bucks in
That's
the Catch
right.
a Can Volunteer Rescue Squad.
Oh, absolutely.
I volunteered for that in December, and they've been running me hard.
Have they?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, it's been a busy.
It's
you
been
know,
a busy year.
busy year
Yeah.
for the rescue squad.
It's been
yeah.
a busy year,
Right.
absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So, as part of the rescue squad, did you have to do, did they give you training when you came on in different particular, areas?
Well, we train every week, every
Okay.
Wednesday night out at Station 6. If it's raining, we'll train indoors on, how to do patient assessments on the scene, first responder kind of stuff, because we're all
Right.
volunteers. I had, basic medical training in the Army. I was trained as a medic back in 1969.
Oh, wow.
Right, and but I need to get some of that re-upped.
Yeah, well, if you haven't really used it since then.
No, and
Yeah.
it's things have changed so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we do different things, and in the summer we go rock climbing out at Area Hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a little area we've developed out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we see a lot of new young people coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, did you go? I know there were a couple of times there were some lost hikers. There's someone a couple people who got lost off the trail up there on the Minerva
Right,
Mountain,
right.
connecting Carlana Lake to Perseverance.
Yeah.
And there was, I can't remember the other ones, but have you participated in those and helped to?
Some of those on Deer Mountain, and there was of course some airplane accidents and
Oh,
things.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And some, and we have a rescue boat. We've been on that a few times.
Okay.
In spite of how seasick I get.
Okay.
But I figure if somebody needs some help, I can.
That's why you said, let's go on a boat for the show, Doug, and you said no.
No boats. But,
No boats for
Yeah.
you. So do you enjoy hiking? Do you go hiking on?
oh gosh, well, yeah. I mean, I've sort of my first passion was to. I guess my grandmother started it. She was down in Washington near Portland. There was a climbing club called the Mazamas. In Seattle, there was the Mountaineers. Mm-hmm. And these were the guys that came, they'd formed over the years and really got popular after the war when all the 10th Mountain guys came back. And so they would, my grandmother was a Mazama guide on Mount Hood and Mount Rainier, all the volcanoes. And then my dad was.
That's incredible.
And he was dragging us up and down those volcanoes about as soon as we could walk. So that's what happened to me.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, I guess I'm about third generation off of being a Scotsman, and that's not helping. So, yeah.
So do you have a favorite hike? Or do you have do you have a favorite,
hike?
Mm-hmm, here in Ketchikan?
Well, it depends on what the objective is. We're actually working on some different pieces and parts, and I'm not going to do the whole thing, but some of the I won't name them, these guys, because if they get lost on this thing, they're part of the rescue squad.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll go rescue them.
exactly. So they're proposing to start Deer Mountain and come down here at Ward Lake.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so I have done a lot of hiking and spent quite a bit of time up in the Alpine around here.
Yeah,
And
I
so
see you out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've been, up to the top of Deer Mountain, and then have crossed over to Blue Lake.
Yeah.
I've started all the way out at Beaver Falls. Gone up to Silvis and Upper Silvis, and then gone up to Mahoney Mountain. I've never done the traverse. You can actually hike from Deer Mountain to Silvis, or to Silvis Lake, which is 14 miles or something like that. I've never done the whole thing, but I know that it can be done. And then you can hike from like the library, the new library. You can climb up the mountain behind the library and get all the way over to Carlana Lake. And from Carlana, you can come over here to through Perseverance to Ward Lake. So I'm just trying to think about how the mountains connect from.
Well, that's the big question.
From Deer Mountain, from the Deer Mountain area over onto this side over here.
Right, and that's the big question. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, if you don't see me for a while, you might check with the boys on that unmapped section.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, they're going to call it the Great Circle Route.
Oh my goodness.
And there's part of it we don't know exactly what to do.
Yeah. Absolutely,
right,
absolutely. So. Well, and the interesting thing about hiking around Ketchikan is the terrain is unpredictable.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
If we can have a commercial moment, we spend most of our time rescuing locals.
Really?
I hate to admit that.
Yeah.
But, and I understand it. I treated the Alpine here for a long time rather cavalierly.
Right.
And I've been lucky.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, recently, we've had some people that weren't so lucky, and so I think it's just because we live here doesn't mean that this is any less dangerous than what it really is. And
Absolutely.
You tend to kind of underestimate the danger because of the proximity.
Yeah.
So when I go out, I've got like at least 2 or 3 GPS platforms going. I hate getting lost.
I know, me too.
It's so, and with modern electronics, it's so unnecessary, but that's why you carry 3 of them, because with most good long walks you might have a track for one of them that worked, but knowing where you are and having a sense about the Alpine and talking to people before you do it, get a spot.
Oh, those are great.
You can get them to the library, at the visitor center, on the dock, and at the trooper station out here at Ward Lake.
Right.
And they're simple to use, and they are dependable. They don't have to be in cell range, and we'll be able to come and get you. If you don't have that,
because you can just push a button. You can
push a button
and it will send a message out, and it will alert people that there's a problem.
That's right, and we'll have your coordinates, and we'll be able to get to you, depending on the condition, with either helicopter or have to walk in, depending on weather.
Right. Well, the nice thing about when you borrow a spot finder from any of those locations, you have to fill out a form that because you can only take it out for a certain period of time, and you have to fill out a form for what your plan is. And I have a friend who borrowed one and then didn't return it at the scheduled time, and we actually started getting phone calls making sure that he was okay, from the place that he had borrowed it from, because so there's extra protection there as well.
Yeah, that's a good
really
example
great.
of how well they work and why they're so necessary, because you don't have to be very far up any of these trails, and you're in a pretty dangerous environment.
Right.
And depending on the conditions, they can be deadly on any given day.
Absolutely.
This last winter was really difficult. It was like a Scottish grade 5 ice climb all winter, going up some of these trails.
Yeah. I know, we do have a phenomenal trail system here in Ketchikan, and we don't want to scare anybody and prevent them from not experiencing them, because when you do get up into the Alpine, and when you take all those precautionary measures, when you have a plan in place, you let people know where you're going, when you're going to be expected back, you have a spot finder, but you can experience things very easily up in nature that you won't be able to experience anywhere else, like mountain goats,
like goats. Yeah, I saw a big old Billy this was up in Seward the week before last.
Wow.
And they got a big old Billy, got about 15 feet close to him. And I looked so haggard, he didn't care.
I know.
He wasn't worried.
Yeah, I hiked up, when I hiked up from Silvis Lake, and we went up to the top of Mahoney, there's a nice big herd of goats up
Mahoney,
there.
Yeah,
we got close to those. I spent a couple nights off of Dude Mountain on Diana
Right.
Mountain.
Oh,
and there
yeah.
was probably 40 goats, mountain
Yeah.
goats with little baby goats up there.
So you spent the night on Diana?
Yeah.
Way to go,
yeah,
Catherine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That was like 5 years
Oh.
ago.
Yeah.
It was incredible, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just
Oh,
one of
that-
those things that,
You asked about my favorite peak, and I
Yeah.
think it's Diana.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's pretty cool
they're
up
just
there.
stunning. And then once you, especially when you hike around the mountains here at Ward Lake, you can see your perspective of how the island is shaped and where you're located is. You're really able to see.
Well,
just a
I'm waiting for
completely
that
different
day.
perspective. If you climb on a clear day. I remember the first time I tried climbing up, I hiked up Perseverance to Perseverance Lake and then tried to go farther up the Minerva
Oh,
Trail.
yeah.
And it was like so foggy.
Oh.
I couldn't see anything. We could barely see like 20 feet in front of us, and it was so muddy and slippery. Yeah, so
Right.
anyways.
Well, yeah, like some of the endeavors, you know, we went, like, now Randy Johnson had his 30-year anniversary of Tyler Rental a couple weeks ago, and he got one of those Allen Marine boats, and we went out to Misty.
Nice.
And I think I got to set next summer, get out to Misty and do some of that hiking.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually saw some video of the Punch Bowl Lake
Yeah,
hike.
huh?
It looks incredible. I know.
Yeah.
Those are all on my list.
Let's
so.
go do that next summer.
Let's do that.
All
Let's
right,
do that tomorrow.
let's get out of here. Let's do it tomorrow.
Oh, I could sit in here and talk hiking all day with you. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Doug. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, Catherine, thank you. You're
Yeah.
awesome,
Aw.
even more awesome yourself. And Tenzi,
And Tenzi.
you've been pretty good,
yes,
buddy.
you've been good
Yeah,
too.
hey, take a bow.
Oh, take a bow.
He's out of here.
He's trying. Oh, hi, baby. I love you. Yes, I do. All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
We'll see you next
y'all.
time. Have a great
See
day.
you on the trail.
Bye.